Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motorcast. This is your host, Dave. I got a special guest, Chicago Wise Guys driver, Tom Zboncak. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing pretty good. And how you doing this morning?
Not bad at all. So you came in third place this year with the Wise Guys.
Yes, I did. I believe I tied with Fergus, but apparently the faster car gets the nudge, so I nipped him out just because of speed.
The top three cars were all nitrous.
Yes, all top three, and then obviously Dennis is a horsepower car.
Right,
Correct.
right.
It was a challenging season for me. We were having a lot of issues with tire shake, and I just couldn't seem to get the car to go to A to B. But you know, that's part of it. You have to try to figure it out, and the car just won this season, not us.
So in the off season, you plan on doing any changes to the car?
No, we're gonna try to figure out the combination that we have. It's what I think I need to work. It's just I have to manage the power and the transmission and the rear end. That's what we're just trying to struggle to figure out right now. But once we get it, I'm sure it'll run.
Okay, now Tom, let me rewind the clock back with you and ask you how did you get involved in drag racing in the first place?
Just a bunch of friends of mine. Obviously, when you're young and a teenager, and you get your first car, you can't afford to pay somebody to fix it. So when I was in high school, they offer shop classes back in the days. That's how old I am. They actually offered shop classes in school. And we started off taking little lawnmower engines apart and fixing them, and then that just progressed into what I got now. And then obviously all my friends, I came from the clearing area, so I cruised Archer Avenue, so that's probably how my blood got started with racing. And then I met a few friends too that were into it, and it just turned into an obsession, I guess. Started a hobby and ended up an obsession, but I think it's a good obsession.
So now the Camaro, is that your first drag race car?
No, that is not. I've owned 4 cars. The first 2, one was a 62 Chevy Impala. It was more of a street car because obviously you have to think of my age at that time. I really couldn't afford what I have now. My second car was another street car. It was a 71 Nova that ran like 840s on horsepower. That was old technology, mild steel, 2x3 box frame ladder bar car. And it's a car I kept for, 18, 19 years, 18 years roughly, something in that area. And believe it or not, one of the tracks that we raced at told me that what I was running wasn't safe for the car. So I ended up building a 94 Chevy Lumina Z34. I campaigned that Chrome Molly car for, almost till 2015 was the last season that I raced it. That car with the same engine combination that I run right now ran in like the 640 range at like 216. Just typical drag racer. We're always wintertime. We're up on Racing Junk just looking at stuff and checking stuff out, and this Camaro came up, and I just happened to have a day off the following day, so I just took a ride out to check it, and I left with the car. I purchased it right at that point, and I'm very pleased with the car. It's a 68 Camaro with a Tim McCamus chassis. It's a very beautiful car, but it's a very purpose-built car.
So what year did you purchase that car?
Actually, I bought it in January of 16, and I've been campaigning it ever since.
So now how did you meet up with Pete Demos and the Wise Guys?
Pete, let's see. Pete, I met in 1980. By trade, I'm a union plumber, and I worked with a guy that was also into cars, and he was a personal friend of Pete. His name was Quinn Blazina, and in working with him, we would sit and bullshit during lunch, and he mentioned about a car he had, so we would talk back and forth, and I ended up going out with him a few times, and I ended up meeting Pete Demos at Route 30, which, once again, I'm showing my age, I guess.
So did you get into Wise Guys right away when you got that pro mod?
I had the Nova first, but I was the third member that Pete asked. It was actually, Pete was first, and then I believe, if I remember correctly, and somebody might maybe correct me if I'm incorrect, but Pete probably can. I believe Pete and Quinn went and did like match racing, and they would go to the tracks and match race, and that's how I think Pete started the concept of the Wise Guys with him and Quinn, and that's how he was selling the story. And then when the tracks said, yeah, you know, we'd be interested in something like that, then Pete started going around, and obviously, since I was friends with both of them, obviously I'm a obvious choice to ask me because I was racing anyway. So, and then I came in with my car, and then Pete started finding a bunch of other cars, and voila, there's our group. And here we still are 25 years later.
Wow, so you've been in the group ever since the start for 25 years now.
Yes, I guess I'm the second longest running member next to Pete.
So after all these years, Tom, what still keeps you passionate about drag racing?
Winning that championship. that and, you know, once you get into this racing and drag racing, if you love it, you'll never quit. You may take a break from it, maybe because of financial issues or family issues, or just, you know what, at the caliber that all of us run at, it's almost like having another job. And you have to love it that much in order to put that much effort towards it. And it's just in my blood. It's just what I love doing. I would rather be in the garage working on the car and being at the racetrack than doing just about anything else other than work, obviously, and being with my family.
So now what's the quickest pass you've made with this car?
The quickest pass I've made with the car was 617, 228 at Byron on 2 kits of nitrous. And that was with a 2-speed glide. And it also went 399, 182 to the ace. So I'm kind of proud of those numbers, but I know the car has much more in it. I think it'll run in the low 6.0s and possibly run maybe a 390, or if everything's perfect, maybe a high 380 number. But those are just goals that we set for ourselves. Obviously, now that I've run a 390 number, typical drag racer, I want more. So,
yeah, I think just about every one of you guys in the Wise Guys know your car has more potential to go faster.
yes. And, you know, that's just evolution. That's just technology. That's just human nature to reach a goal. And, you know, I'm at the goal. I want to go more. I mean, we are a match race circuit, so it's run what you brung. Go as fast as you can. We're not on a dial or set index or anything, so the faster we can go, the happier we are. Of course, obviously, you have to keep it within safety parameters, too, so that's a key to all of us, is safety first.
Yeah, that Pete Demos does a good job of keeping you guys all safe.
Yes, we have to, and amongst all of us, we all want to be safe. We all have families. You know, we all have to go home or go to jobs, and, you know, this is a passion, but just like every other racer that's out there, you know, you have to have your safety in mind, and that's where it has to be.
So where
we can race and come back another day. I believe that's what one of the comments was.
So where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
There's several places. I buy a lot of stuff from Rob Adler at the 18th Speed Shop. You get it from Dice and Simpson and all the big names like the Hans device, which I very much believe in a Hans device for the driver. I think, once again, it's a safety issue, and I feel you have to consider the fact, how much is your head weigh and the helmet. And if, God forbid, something happens, and these cars, they can get loose at any given point in time, and you hit a wall, that helmet, that head, and everything going forward, you need that Hans to stop it, to stop any neck injuries.
Yeah, I've seen some of the cars get a little squealish once in a while.
Yeah, well, that's all that is us trying to push the envelope. And, that's the key to go fast is you have to run on that ragged edge, and we all do. You might be conservative maybe to start, but as you go, you get faster and faster, and you keep pushing it. And you have to push if you want to go quick. And sometimes the car or the track says, okay, you went too far, you got to back up a little bit. Hopefully you can catch it. That's why when you drive, you have to keep your wits about you. You can't ever take these cars for granted.
Yep, that's a lot of power you guys are playing with.
Yeah, I'm sure, all of us run anywhere from 2,000 horsepower all the way up to 3,500, maybe even 4,000 a few of the turbo cars. I know myself, it's probably roughly around 3,200, 3,300 if I light all the kits, which I haven't gotten that far yet, so maybe someday.
Now, do you have any sponsors for the car?
Yeah, it's myself, and I have a few small companies. There's a door company in the local area, was a personal friend of mine, and he used to help me out, but he went out of business. Just times couldn't help. But I have a few relatives and friends that give me some money that they're not like businesses. They just love the sport, and they know if they can give me a few money here and there, it also helps me. And the rest of it comes from me, obviously.
Now, when you first got into drag racing, did you have any heroes out there?
Probably Warren Johnson is the one that I can remember because, Bob Glitton's another one, and I'm not trying to be mean. He was a Ford guy, but he was a racer, and I don't go that way where, hey, it's a Ford, I don't like them. It doesn't matter to me. I actually love a Mustang body style. And sorry, some of the Ford guys, but I'd love to put a Chevy motor in it and run a Mustang. But I happened to find a Camaro because at that time I was possibly thinking of building a Camaro, a brand new car. And when this Camaro came up, I figured that was a cheaper route to go.
So what was it like to get behind the wheel for the first time of this Camaro?
Say that again?
What was it like to get behind the wheel for the first time of this Camaro?
First time in a new car is nervous. But I guess after the first pass, I don't know how you say it. A brand new car, you just keep your wits about you, make an easy pass, do something safe, get the feel of the car, and then let it go. After a couple of easy passes and then you make a full pass, it was just like, this thing is like a dream to drive. I love that the way the chassis is designed and engineered, that it's built for power. According to McCamus, I can put as much power to it as I want and it'll take it. And actually, we think it likes more power than less power. So at least that's from what we've done so far. Every time we give it more power, it seems to like it in the 60-foot range. But once again, once you get out to the shake zone, we're just having issues with shake right now, so we're not sure what it's causing and why. So that's what this winter is going to be about, is try to figure out that aspect.
All right, now what was your experience like the first time ever going down a drag strip when you were young?
It was just an old 62 Chevy Impala that I had, and just trying to go as fast as you can. I used to be a street racer, and it just, one of my friends wrecked on the street, and when we got down to him, he was fine, but the car was totally destroyed. And I saw that, and I just looked at it like, you know what? This is not a smart idea. This is definitely dangerous. We can't control it. The racetrack is where we need to do this stuff. And I just 100% gave up on street racing and said, yeah, I'm done with it. I can't see doing it and possibly hurting myself and somebody else, which in some of the news, as you see, does happen.
Now, the first time on a track, was the Christmas tree intimidating to you at all?
No, I've always been like mechanically inclined and understand how the tree works. So obviously, I would watch everything on TV as a young kid, and then as I got older, I already knew what the Christmas tree was all about. It's not intimidating. Just like the person in the other lane's not intimidating. You still got to run your lane.
Now, when you take this pro mod out for racing, how many crew members do you have?
It varies depending upon what everybody has with family, but usually we take 3. Sometimes we have 6. Stan Merrick, Jr. is my crew chief, and then sometimes his dad, which is also a Stan Senior, will come out and give us a hand if we're short guys. Stan's wife, Alyssa, goes with me also. And believe it or not, we have Melina, which is Stan's daughter, and she's going to be turning actually 4 today. She's one of our biggest crew members. She totally loves the car and loves racing. And actually, when we're going to go racing, obviously she knows we're going racing Friday night, and she gets up Saturday morning, and she gets up before her dad and taps him like, "Daddy, I'm dressed. Let's go." So it's amazing, and that's probably some of the reasons. Obviously, we drag race because we love it, but we just get so much energy from watching her and her eyes light up when she just sees the race car or she talks about the race car. It just lightens our day and makes us want to even try even harder. And I'll bet at some point in time she'll probably end up in a junior dragster, because it's just the way she talks about the cars.
Yeah, it's always good to see kids getting involved in the sport of drag racing.
Yeah, I would prefer them to do that than sitting at home playing their games or doing their social media stuff. I think it's, they took the mechanical parts out of school and the classes, and I wish the school boards would bring them back in, because kids are losing touch with working on cars, especially now everything's electronic. You almost need a laptop and a computer to even work on a car anymore. But I've always worked on my own. I pretty much take care of all my own cars. The only time I can't, obviously, if it's a trouble light, and I don't have that type of equipment to look for it, so you have to take it somewhere. But as long as they can tell me what's wrong with it, I can fix it myself.
Yeah, it's a good thing just to get the kids out of the house these days.
Yeah, or keep them off the streets. And that's another reason that the group is so good. We're a group. We're all family orientated. Everything's about family. 90% of the groups have their families with them at the track. And then obviously, Pete came up with the magazines, and we give them to the kids and we hand them out. They come over with their eyes and they want us to sign them, and you sign them and you look at them like, "You want to sit in the race car?" Oh my God. It's so amazing to watch their eyes light up when they get to sit in the car and they get pictures and stuff. So it's part of the sport. We have to promote the sport, and that's one of the things I think the group does, and we try to keep doing, and hopefully the fans and the kids enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a memory of a lifetime when the kids sit in the pro mods.
Yeah, you see some of them. It's fun to watch them get it out. Every once in a while, we'll have some fun with them when they talk about their dad and stuff. We tease them. So we want to see if dad can get in the car. If you've ever gotten into a race car that you've never been in before, they're not the easiest to get into. You definitely have a certain way to get in and out of a car, and sometimes as an adult, it gets pretty hard to get back out of the car, unless, obviously, if you know how, and then it just becomes second nature. But it is fun to watch them. The kids have fun with it when we tease them.
Now, Tom, when you're on the track, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all out there?
No, I'm not very much of a superstitious person, but I do know that every time before I get in the car, I get obviously suited up, and Stan puts the Hans device on me. I get the helmet, I get everything ready, and right before I step in the car, I've seen to always stop at the door of the car, and I always kind of rub the car, tap it, and just tell, okay, baby, it's time to go. And then I just get in the car.
Now, what goes into preparation to get that car ready for a weekend of racing?
Usually when it's at home or when it's at the shop, we'll go through all the systems, the engine, the valves, check all the springs, make sure everything's good on that aspect, change the oil filter, check the transmissions, and then on these type of cars, because tire shake is a big issue in them, we basically check all the bolts and all of the actual functioning parts to make sure nothing's loosened up or cracked. We get all the food, all the tents, and all the service equipment, like the truck that pulls it there and the trailer. We have to make sure all that's, good and roadworthy. Put the car in, load it all up, pick up some food, pick up some ice, pick up something to drink, and then some fuel, and head out to the track.
Now, what are some of your favorite tracks?
Union Grove is one of my favorite tracks in the local area. I do like Byron also. There was a track up in Wisconsin that we've gone to, Kokona. I love the fans up there. They are some great fans. They seem to love us, and I wish at some point in time we might be able to get back up there again. But I guess possibly scheduling or something's just been an issue up there. So obviously Joliet, which is not too far away from where I am, is a premier track. And believe it or not, several years ago I was actually able to run down Indy, which was one of my checkoffs on one of my to-do lists. I actually made a pass down Indy.
Now, do you have anything else on your bucket list as far as drag racing goes?
Trying to get a 590 number. Definitely trying to run in a 5. I think I can do it. I think I have the car and the engine to do it. I think it's a high goal that I've set for myself again. And if I don't, I don't. It's just one of them is to run a low 6-second number, but I really would like to see a 599 once, at least once, just to say I did it.
Right. So now, what would you consider to be some of the milestones of your drag racing career?
God, just being able to keep doing it for all these years, and being able to have the financial situations, obviously, where I can afford to do it. And also, I guess, in the bigger end of the picture of that is having all the support from all the people around me, like Stan and his family and my wife. And obviously from the Wise Guys, because there's been several people that have helped me out when we're at the track and we're broke. Something happens, we're always there to help each other. So that's a big part of everything too.
Yeah, it's like a big family.
Yes. And it doesn't matter that we're in competition with each other. You need it, you got it. If I got it, you can have it.
Yep, if you're broke and someone else is running and they need a part, you'll give them a part off your car.
Yep. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, Tom, I'm going to ask you a few fun questions here before we close out this interview. Outside of drag racing, do you have any other hobbies?
No, pretty much drag racing takes almost all of my time.
Now, if you could do time traveling and go back in time, would you do anything differently with the drag racing career?
Yeah, buy a Tim McCamus chassis right away.
All right. What's your favorite food to eat?
I'm big on like Italian food, spaghetti usually. Spaghetti and meatballs are something that I've grown up on and love.
Favorite beverage?
I'm big on iced tea, but I also like to put a little bit of vodka in with it on a very, very few occasions. I don't drink very much, but I'm a one or two drink type of person, and then I usually stop.
So how many awards have you won in your drag racing career?
Oh, God. Every year it seems like I get an award for the group. I've never won anything per se. I did just compete in the top dog race at Byron, and I finished second against Chuck Weck, which I think was, a pretty good achievement. Other than that, I do know I went to a PBRA race in Indy, actually, and I actually qualified for it. I did run the top sportsman, but I did make the 16-car field. I think that was a pretty decent accomplishment.
All right, so my wife want to ask you something. Hold on one second.
Sure.
I saw your post on your page about the Tim Allen. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Trump 2020.
Pardon?
She said Trump 2020.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yep. So, okay, now, you have a favorite movie of all time, Tom?
I'm big on a lot of the John Wayne westerns. I've always loved the Duke, and even now my wife laughs at me. I've seen most of the John Wayne flicks, and it'll come on, and I'll sit there and watch it again. And she just shakes her head and walks away.
You like Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, he's another good one. Yes, absolutely. A lot of the newer stuff would be maybe like Tom Cruise. I like a lot of the stuff that he's been in. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I watch a little bit of TV when I get a chance, but a lot of times if I'm not working, I'm in the garage putzing with the car. And obviously, if none of that's going on, I'm busy with my wife doing something with the family or the grandkids or something.
Now, how many grandkids you got?
I have two. I have two daughters, two granddaughters, and they're getting up there in their ages right now. They're still a little young, but just love watching them with my wife and how my wife is around them. And she just lights up, obviously. She lights up when she's around her own children, but I know something about grandkids when you get near them. You know how it is. You get to feed them candy and fire them up and hand them back to your kids and say, okay, they're here. See ya. Yeah. My time's done. You get to deal with it now.
Yeah, enjoy them while they're young, Tom.
Yes, I hear you.
So now, what's your favorite music to listen to?
I'm a big rocker. I like the Zeppelin, Stones, Three Dog Night, some of the older stuff, but that's pretty much where I'm at.
So when you were growing up as a kid, did you have a favorite cartoon?
Wild Coyote, of course.
Yep.
Chasing the Roadrunner.
Yep. He never did catch that Roadrunner.
No, but hey, he keeps trying.
Yeah. Never give up.
Never, ever. Anybody
Just
can take anything from it. Never give up. Anybody tells you no, just keep pushing on. Believe in yourself.
Just like you, never give up hitting that speed you want to get to.
Yep. You make a goal, set it. If you reach it, make a new one. Never settle.
So now, what kind of advice would you give to someone that might be listening to the interview and they want to, they're thinking about they want to drive a pro mod? What kind of advice would you give that person?
Make sure you have a rich parent to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty expensive hobby.
It is, but if you can do a good amount of the work yourself and not have to have too many people, have somebody else do it for you, you can kind of keep the cost down. You just have to keep control of it. And you got to remember, you can listen to other people, but you got to make your own mind up.
Now, on the track, have you had one most embarrassing moment that you can think of?
Yeah, Route 66, 2000 on a Friday night, I hit the wall at half track.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not a good night. But those are the things that can happen in racing. It's just a stupid, small, $2 part, a little hose had a split in it, and it dropped water on the track, and I just couldn't save it. There's nothing I could do about it. But I turned around, fixed the car, and went faster. So, it hurts. Once again, that was one of those safety issues. The car had all of the safety bars and everything in it, Hans and helmet and all the other things you're supposed to have. And it protected me. The car did what it was supposed to. It absorbed the impact, and I was able to cut it up and put it back together and fix it, and I was able to race again. So it's a learning experience, I guess you can call it.
Yep, that's why they say we learn from our mistakes.
Yes, and that's why I'm very adamant about never relaxing inside of a car, because at any given time or moment, that car can do something, and you have to be there and pay attention. People tell me, you're just driving a race car, it goes straight. And yeah, I guess on one aspect, yeah, but that car can turn right or left at any given second, and you've got to be ready for it.
Now, if you weren't a drag racer, what do you think you'd be doing with your life in your spare time?
Wow. Probably if I didn't own a car, I probably would have been into like apartment complexes and owning them and something to that nature.
All right, now what's been the fondest memory of your whole drag racing career?
The fondest memory?
Yeah.
Well, there's so many memories. I would say it would be tough to pick any one, but probably one of the ones that I'm most proud of is the day Pete asked me to be a Chicago Wise Guy, and I said yes. I think that was a decision that I think was a good one for me and the Wise Guys and Pete, and I'm very proud that I've been with them for 25 years, and I'll say I'd love to go 25 more, but, we'll see. We're going to take 1 year at a time.
Now, do you have a fondest race with the Chicago Wise Guys?
The fondest race? That's a tough one. Fondest race? Probably just recently, this year, in the beginning of the season, I was racing Brian Clark up in the Grove for a final, and we left together, and we both, I don't know exactly what was going on in his lane, but I know he was struggling to get down, and so was I, and it got so close to the end that he just caught me just at the top end. And I think in an effort and something that you try to do, that was one of the races that I'll remember for quite a long time. I was upset that I lost, but I gave it my best effort, and we tried to do everything, and my opponent never gave up. Even though he was struggling behind me, and he was behind me, he kept trying, which is one of the things that I speak of, is never giving up. He didn't, and he ended up beating me. So I give a hats off to him for that one.
So what can we look forward to what can we look forward to from you for the next season?
Well, hopefully making straight and fast passes, and hopefully I can hopefully get my wife to go a few times. She doesn't go to the track very often, more probably because of the kids and stuff like that, and she has other interests. She doesn't complain about the car or nothing like that, but she doesn't love it the way I love it. So she'll do her thing, and I do my thing.
Awesome. Well, Tom, I want to thank you for taking time to do the interview. You have any final words or thank yous, any kind of good stuff like that before we close?
Probably just everybody be safe, and hopefully everybody's health as well. And we'll see you in the 2020 season.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to find the schedule, go to ChicagoWiseGuys.net or the Chicago Wise Guys page on Facebook, and you can find out where they're going to be at. Well, thanks again, Tom.
All right, thank you.
You have a great day.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.